And we're live.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to round 16 here at Mexico for the European Racing Series. I'm going to be your commentator today, Kai Bacini, and joining me alongside the box will be Steph, as usual. So, Steph, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. We've missed having you in the comms box for the last couple of weeks, so glad to have you back.
Yeah, it's amazing to be back in the commentary box. Unfortunately, missed the last 2 weeks of racing, but we're back here at Mexico, the fast-flowing circuit. There's lots of overtaking zones, and we have a long run down into turn one, so anything can happen off the start line as we're going into the end of quali now. It looks like Scars will take pole. 112.705 is set by the AlphaTauri driver. Then it will be Vexit, Geo Yari, Summerdeer, Ben, Top Jack, and then it will be Tiemann Server, who will start in eighth position for the race. So this should be an interesting race.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a really unpredictable one. A very interesting battle, actually, between Vexit and Get Owned, who are the two top guys in the championship right now. So for them to be starting P2 and P3, it's going to be really interesting who comes out on top in this race, because it's really all to play for now that we're getting towards the end of the championship season.
Yeah, Vexit, we know he's a quick and consistent driver. We know he's not likely one to make mistakes. Get Owned, he's more of an aggressive driver. He'll go for anything that he can take. So maybe that may be the Renault's downfall when it comes to the points at the end of the season.
Definitely. I mean, Get Owned is in the lead currently, so he has got that slight little advantage. And Vexit has had a couple of really bad races, DNFing. So, yeah, definitely all to play for. I don't know who's going to come out on top in this fight, really.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really knows who's going to come out on top in this fight. Like, it's so close between these drivers. Anyone could take this. Vexit, Get Owned, obviously our main contenders, but there's so many other drivers that have a chance at it.
Yeah, definitely. It's really exciting as well. Yonti has risen right up the ranks. Danico, after winning a couple of races, has also risen up to P4. So some really interesting drivers in there. And so it's going to be a really interesting last couple of races to the season as well, because, you know, it's all to play for, like I said.
Yeah, and with the sun shining down on the Mexican circuit here for the drivers, we have the session starting in 20 seconds. So all the drivers just getting themselves prepared, choosing their setup and choosing their race strategy, as we will soon be underway for round 16 of the European Racing Series. So as the drivers now make their way onto the grid, you can see the drivers will now make their way on for the formation lap. Scars will start on pole from Vexit, Get Owned, Yari, Summerdeer, Ben. Then it will be Top Jack, Tiemann Server, then Yonti, XL Copy Hazard, and then it will be Praterus. Then it will be Lando's Milkman, Dennis, and Fraugioko, rounding out the 16 drivers which we have here racing today. Steph, what are your predictions?
Oh, God, you can't ask me that. How can you predict how this race is going to turn out? We've had quite a few incidents in the last couple of races. We did see some messy driving, but it has cleaned up a little bit. I think Scars has been on a really good run, but I'm not sure he'll be able to hold off from Vexit, who does bide his time very well. So I'm going to say that we could get a Vexit win today with Get Owned in P2. I think we're going to have a really close battle between both of them. We know they both have a lot of pace, and they're definitely the strongest drivers in the field right now. So I don't know if you can call that a prediction, maybe a desire, a hope that we get a proper good race and a proper good fight between Vexit and Get Owned today. But definitely don't count out the Red Bulls, because some idiot has had a lot of pace. Top Jack coming from 7th. Last time out at the USA, he started outside of the top 10 and came all the way and was moving all the way up throughout the entirety of the race. So definitely has a lot of pace and would not discount Top Jack for a podium today.
Yeah, Scars will be starting on pole. It's very difficult to get up there, and I wouldn't discount the Alfa Romeo driver that will be heading down into turn one. But with it being such a long run down into the first corner, pole position isn't really where you want to be starting for this track. Vexit, if anything, has the best starting position. He'll have the toe of the leading driver off the line of Scars, and he'll also most likely have the position going into turn one, but he won't get drafted himself.
Well, yeah, exactly. Get Owned is in a great position as well. If he can cover Vexit and manage to get in the slipstream of Scars, he's got a really good chance of leading into turn one as well. So, all to play for, really. I keep saying it.
Yep. And as we get the drivers soon underway, red lights on the gantry. And it is going to be lights out, and away we go here in Mexico as we see the drivers jump off the line. Very good. That looks like a great start from Get Owned as he tries to go round the outside, 3 wide into turn 1. Will it happen, though? As we watch the drivers go down, you can see squirming for position all over the track. 3 wide going in. Vexit on the inside. Get Owned will have the inside for the second corner. Vexit not going to give it up, though. Fights it into turn 3. Holds the line. Vexit hits the front. Get Owned in second. Not going to give it up around the outside. You can see the Renault now tucking in behind the AlphaTauri. Vexit, will he fall victim into the next short corner? You can see locking up the brakes. Many of the drivers, smoke going everywhere. And it will be Vexit into the lead, Get Owned in the second. Scars drops down to third.
Well, wasn't that an exciting first couple of corners? Wow, that battle between Get Owned and Vexit into turn 1 was absolutely fantastic. Like we predicted, that slipstream was really powerful down that main straight, down that long run to turn 1. And because the drivers are so close, I'm sure they'll get a run at it going into lap 2. So keep an eye out.
Yeah, Get Owned currently just biding his time behind Vexit in the lead. He'll just be sitting behind, waiting for the slipstream, waiting for DRS to be enabled, which is where it's going to be most valuable for these drivers, as we have the long home straight, which is the main DRS zone for this track. It's going to be where we see many overtakes, and probably most likely where we see most of the overtakes. It does say DRS enabled on our screen, which is incorrect, as it's only lap 2 of the race. Timing tower just sorting itself out. Once we get onto third lap, DRS will be enabled, and Vexit will be feeling the pressure.
Definitely. I mean, only 4 tenths separate P1 and P2 right now. Only 4 tenths separating that AlphaTauri and that Renault car. It's going to heat up real quick soon, as we do at the timing screens are currently just sorting themselves out right now. They're going through the motions, but we can see that we do not have any changes in the lead of the race. Scar's going to be a little bit disappointed with that start, but like you said, on pole position isn't the ideal place to start. He's hanging on to the back of that Renault car of Get Owned quite well for now, but how long will he be able to hang on is my question.
Yeah, we saw Get Owned was lightning off the line, made his way to the outside of both Vexit and Scars, so the Renault easily getting the best start of all 3 of them. Vexit just holds his line, manages to hit the front, and this is where the AlphaTauri really comes into his element. He's great at getting away from the rest of the pack, and great at not buckling under the pressure. So let's see if the normal Vexit is the Vexit that we know here today.
Well, yeah, another thing that we haven't mentioned yet is how the drivers have to keep it clean. So we've seen a lot of penalties throughout this ERS season, and we definitely will be seeing some penalties today. I remember last time out in the USA, Hazard picked up a lot of penalties. Obviously not in the fight at the top of the table right now, but all of the drivers have to keep it clean, because we've seen several races where penalties definitely decide the finishing order. So I think that that's going to be something that Vexit and Get Owned both need to be very wary of, because that could definitely drop them down the order if they have to finish a race with penalties.
Yeah, penalties, they are prone around the Mexico circuit, as we have through Sector 2 and Sector 3. It's a difficult, tight, twisty, fast-flowing circuit. It's all about keeping the car within the limits and not letting it go too easily. As you can see, the drivers now making their way through. Now it's all about painted curves on the track, so you need to find your limit and get used to it. As you have DRS enabled, Get Owned, you can see optimizing that for his performance as the drivers go into the hairpin through Sector 3 now. The Renault not going anywhere, but not going anywhere close to Vexit.
Yeah, still within DRS zone, still within DRS range, should I say, as we head down to that massive long straight. And is he going to be able to get anywhere close? I mean, everyone is currently in everyone's slipstream at the minute. This is very indicative of this track with this massive long straight. I mean, it's very difficult to get a run on somebody when everybody is picking up that slipstream of who's in front of them. So, as we can see, no changes for the lead position right now, but the drivers are still very, very close together.
Yeah, it's so close between this field. You can see everyone all the way down to Top Jack and P8. Everyone has DRS, and everyone has each other's slipstream. This field is so close, and one mistake from one single driver could bring everyone together and bring anyone into contention.
Oh yeah, and I'm just looking at this really great battle right now between Tierman and Yonti. So Yonti managed to get past Tierman, but going through just the end of sector 1 and coming into sector 2, there was a brilliant fight between them. They were going wheel to wheel into turn 5, I believe it was. So that was absolutely fantastic, and yeah, lovely midfield battle there that we can keep an eye on.
Yes, seeing battles throughout the whole of the field we are today in the sunlight of the Mexico circuit. You can see the drivers make their way through the grandstand section. That's where the main grandstand is for the drivers. Some people call it the swimming pool complex in reference to Monaco, but we are at Mexico, so the grandstand area is the main place for the drivers. Down into a hairpin goes Vexit. You can see on the defense, Get-Owned manages to slip past the AlphaTauri. Who will get the DRS though? It's Get-Owned. Get-Owned actually picks up the DRS, as it's a double DRS zone for these drivers. Get-Owned still on the attack of Vexit. You can see the Renault still sitting in second position. Vexit still in the lead. They make their way around the double right-hand apex, and now this brings Scars into contention. 3 temps back. Get-Owned briefly took the lead. Vexit snatches it right back.
Yeah, that was really exciting. Get-Owned saw that gap and he went for it. It didn't quite pay off, but he's definitely there and he's showing that he's right on it. If Vexit makes a single mistake in this race, Get-Owned is going to be able to reap the rewards. So Vexit is under, I'd say, the most amount of pressure as well, as he's P2 in the championship as we see them going through the grandstand section. I absolutely love this section of track. I think it completely makes Mexico. It's absolutely fantastic to see. I can't wait to be there one day, soaking up the atmosphere.
Yeah, it would be amazing to sit in that grandstand themselves as the drivers echo, the engines echoing through that section. As the drivers make their way through, Get-Owned on the attack again. Down into turn 1. Will he try around the outside? Yes, he will. Vexit defends the inside. Tries to hold his line, but you can see Get-Owned takes the position for now. But Vexit, we know he gets a good run out of here, defending his position. Vexit using a little bit of his overtake, but Get-Owned, will he hit the front? Will he secure it? Yes, he will.
Yeah, fantastic. So he couldn't get the move done the first time around, but manages to get it done the second time around. Now, Vexit is absolutely hot on his tails. We are probably going to see this exact same thing reoccurring on the next lap. So Vexit will be the one attacking, but absolutely fantastic move from Get-Owned, wheel to wheel, all around the outside. Absolutely fantastic. That's what we like to see.
Yep, first penalty of the race has been picked up by Top Jack in P8. 6 laps into the race, 3 warnings accumulated, and that is a penalty awarded to the Williams driver. But Get-Owned and Vexit roles reverse this time round. Who's going to be the victor?
Yeah, I think we're going to have some back and forth between every single lap of this race. I'm not sure that Vexit will be close enough to make the attack going down into turn 1 this lap, but he's definitely hot on the tails. We'll pick up the DRS zone for the next run. So as we can see, he's edging a little bit closer, but it's just too far back as we see a lockup from the front right of Get-Owned. So how long are these softs going to last, as these drivers seem to be really pushing them hard. No one seems to be extending their lead, and they all seem to be fairly equal.
Yeah, you can see Vexit getting so close to the back of Get-Owned, basically pushing the Renault through the corner. But now you can see not far behind, you have Scars, Yari, Get-Owned, and Ben all in a train trying to push this lead driver into a mistake, trying to gain a position for themselves. But Get-Owned looking quite comfortable out in front. Vexit, surely he's got to start worrying now.
I wouldn't be too sure about that. I'm sure Vexit has a couple of extra tricks up his sleeve. Still just 6/10 off Get-Owned, so very much within DRS range still as we come through the grandstand section. I just love this section. I'm going to get distracted every time we come around there. But no, Vexit, he looks really strong at the minute. He could potentially bide his time and go for an undercut strategy. I mean, somebody's definitely going to have to bite first. I'm just wondering which one out of Get-Owned and Vexit it will be. I'd say out of the two of them, Get-Owned is probably the stronger driver in terms of tyre management, but we do see another lockup as we go into turn 1, so maybe that's not the case today. So I'd say Get-Owned will probably try and extend that stint longer than Vexit, but I don't know. Only time will tell. I'm never very good at these predictions.
Yeah, Vexit, he's a smart driver. He knows what he's doing. He's got a head on his shoulders, as some may say. But in second position, you're most likely to go for the undercut. The overcut from second position, you don't see it very often, as you may as well try the optimal strategy when you are in second position, as you kind of have that do or die mentality. You have that mentality where it's all or nothing. So Vexit most likely will go for the undercut on Get Owned, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely. And which of the drivers are going to blink first is what I want to know. I mean, we're on lap 8 of this race. We've had no retirements. We've had no incidents thus far. So exceptional driving from everyone. The field is incredibly close together. I've never seen it this close together throughout the entirety of the season. So, wow, that is definitely something to point out. And we're seeing some guys jumping into the pits. So we've got Yari for Red Bull into the pits. We've got Ben. We've got Top Jack into the pits, so they're all making their first pit stop. Who knows if there'll be another? I'm predicting a one-stop strategy. And they seem to be all onto the yellow striped medium tyres. So after starting out on the soft tyres, they're onto the medium tyres right now. And as we've been talking, I think Get Owned is getting a little bit put under a little bit of pressure from Vexit, and they're going side by side into sector 2, and who's going to come out on top? It looks like it's going to be Get Owned right now, but they're still going wheel to wheel around, and Vexit had the inside line there. They're still wheel to wheel. It's a drag race.
Get Owned picks up a 3-second time penalty for track limits in the meantime. Vexit, you could see, trying around the outside of Get Owned. Get Owned goes off the track whilst doing so and picks up that 3-second time penalty, so that will be some reassurance for Vexit behind. But Scars and Some Idiot locked in a battle as well. We have P1 and P2 and P3 and P4 all battling for position. But as Get Owned goes on to the straight now, 3 temps is separating them. Who's that into the pits? It's the top 3. It's Get Owned, who picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding the pit lane.
Oh no, it's not going well for Get Owned right now. His race is just going from bad to worse. This is absolutely not what he needed, and that was almost an unsafe release with the Renault. So Vexit is behind right now on track, but at the end of the day, he's going to find a lot of comfort in the fact that Get Owned is going to be suffering from those penalties now. So even though Get Owned will be picking up those penalties, I mean, Vexit is still going to want to pass him on track. So we're going to see a very, very spicy battle, which I think is definitely something that we all want to see.
Yeah, we're 10 laps into the race, and Get Owned has already accumulated 8 seconds of penalties. Now that's going to be crucial to the finishing order of Get Owned as he puts himself on the medium tyres. So does Vexit. But with 8 seconds, that'll drop you massively down the order. With everyone being so close to each other, all the drivers being so close to bang in the meantime, Get Owned, those 8 seconds, all it is a burden.
Yeah, definitely. And on another note, we've got Some Idiot out at front who didn't pit, so was running in 4th position and still isn't pitting, as we've just seen him come past the pit entry. So still on those soft tyres, I believe. Let's just have a check. Yep. Yeah, so he's the only driver that's currently on the soft tyres. But it's clearly working for him because he's staying out. He is losing a little bit of time to Copy, who is chasing him down in P2. The gap was just over 7 seconds, and now it's about 6.8. So I think Some Idiot could potentially be losing out by staying out, and maybe needs to come in a little bit quicker to make sure that he doesn't lose too much time on Scars, especially in that fight for the last podium place.
Yeah, I think the podium place is going to be crucial, but Some Idiot clearly trying the overcut. He thinks that it's going to work, but with the purple sectors that these medium runners are setting, and with the lap times that these medium runners are setting, it's not looking too positive for the Red Bull driver right now. Yari, you can see, started on those medium compounded tyres, 10 laps completed for him, and it looks like... No, sorry, there's only 1 lap completed from Yari, so Yari has undercut all of them.
Yeah, so Yari has done a fantastic job, really, with pitting at the beginning. So I think Yari pitted alongside Ben, who is now up to net P4, you could say. So Yari, Ben, and I think it was Top Jack as well. They all pitted the lap prior to the front runners. So it has definitely benefited them. Like you said, the undercut is really powerful around this track, and it's worked out in their favour.
Yeah, and it's worked out massively in the favor of Yari. Vexit, fastest lap, showing us he has the pace, showing us he's able to contend for the lead. Yari, will he fall victim to the Renault? Yes, he will. Get owned. He'll even get the racing line going into the corner now. That's something you don't see very often. The Renault gets himself back across the track. He'll also get DRS for the next straight as well. You'll get that enabled. You can see the rear wing opens up. Yari, he's got Vexit all over the back of him now. Our fastest lap from the previous lap. The AlphaTauri not messing around in any way, shape or form.
Yeah, no, this is getting really, really interested, and I think that is absolutely what Get Owned needs. He's put a barrier between himself and Vexit. Hopefully he'll be able to extend now, or that's what he'll be hoping to do. Try and negate that 8-second penalty I think that he's loaded with right now. So he just needs to start driving off into the distance. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I'm sure Vexit will be on the attack in terms of making sure he gets past Yari as soon as possible. But for Get Owned, it's a little bit of a breather, I think. I think it would be. So we'll see how much he can extend.
Yellow flag.
Oh, and that's a
yellow flag. And who's that? That's Dennis. Dennis is round and he's lost his front wing. He's driving back onto the track. I don't know if you're allowed to do that. Drives backwards onto the track to get himself back into the pit lane. I'm sure the stewards will have something to say about that. But the Ferrari makes his way into the pit lane. We'll put on some fresh tyres and a fresh wing as well. But if it was legal or not, well, I guess we'll leave that to post-race.
Yeah, we'll definitely see a bit of an investigation with that. You know that is not necessarily rule-abiding. So, yeah, a bit gutted, but could you imagine him having to trek all the way around the track with no front wing? It wouldn't have been ideal. So, yeah, not the greatest place to lose it, not the greatest place to have an incident, but I guess, like you said, we'll see post-race what happens. And interestingly, he is onto the hard tyres as well. So now both of the Ferraris are driving on the hard tyres. I wonder if that's a conscious choice or just the way the cookie crumbled.
Yep, Tiemann picks up a 3-second time penalty that will go towards his race ending time, but still Get Owned has that 8-second penalty, not able to pull a gap on the drivers behind just yet. 7 tenths is separating the Red Bull and the Renault driver. Don't forget about Vexit, not far behind him. And then we have Ben, who is 3 seconds behind, so not within DRS range of the leading drivers. Well, net leading drivers right now. Get Owned currently in a podium position, but with Copy and Hazard not pitting yet, he'll soon be promoted to lead.
Yeah, it will be really, really exciting once these drivers get ahead, once they're in completely clear air, see what they can potentially do. Hazard and Copy riding well on those mediums for now. I think they can still keep going quite a while, but how soon will they start to be swallowed up by the front runners as we see another yellow flag in Sector 1. Who's that's had an issue?
Tiemann.
I think it's a Tiemann. Yeah, it's a racing point of Tiemann, and he has no end plates. So, yeah, that is not good. That front wing is severely damaged, and we are seeing a virtual safety car. So all the drivers to slow down their speed on the track, as the marshals are probably out retrieving a little bit of all the debris from the wing that is missing from that bright pink Racing Point car.
Yeah, Tiemann with absolutely no front wing left, so it must have been a big impact for the Racing Point driver. You can see absolutely no downforce through the corners for Tiemann. DRS is enabled again, and we get back under racing. Copy takes this to his advantage, dives into the pit lane, so does Hazard. It looks like Get Owned hits the front, followed by Yari and Vexit. We've seen this battle before, but the Red Bull new to it. Vexit on the attack. Will he try it up the inside into turn 1? He's going to try it. Yes, he will. Vexit hits himself up into second position. There'll be no DRS for Yari, but Get Owned now starting to feel the pressure. He has his counterpart behind him. These two drivers had a great battle before, as we have a yellow flag in Sector 3 as Tiemann retires in the pit lane. Purple Sector 1 from Vexit. This is looking strong.
Yeah, that defense from Yari was a little bit disappointing. It almost seemed too easy for Vexit to get past. So, yeah, but Vexit back it up into P2, and not long before he's properly on the tail of Get Owned. So, Yeah, those three drivers right now really, really close together. Scars has lost out a little bit during those pits because he was actually really, really close to the front runners, and now is about 3.5 seconds off P3. So definitely he's going to be wanting to speed things up a little bit, try and get back into that fight. But Yari, it has absolutely won in this because Yari was in P5, I think, before the pit stops. Somewhere around about there, P5, P6, and is now up into P3. So even though he has been overtaken by Get Owned and Vexit, definitely still a positive for him, and could still leap up into a position ahead of where he finishes on track due to that penalty for a Get Owned. So all the drivers just got to keep it clean. We've currently got 5 out of the 16 drivers with a penalty, but I'm sure it'll be much more by the time we finish the race, as we see Vexit not being able to make a move, takes a little look to see if he can do it down the straight between turns 3 and 4, but he isn't able to do it just yet. But definitely got his eyes on the prize, definitely on the lookout to make that overtake stick on track.
Yep, so we do have these drivers trying to make the move stick on the track, but Get Owned, 8 seconds of penalties, with 7 temps to a very, very quick Vexit behind. Vexit, you can see, hunting down for that 5th position. He wants it on track. He doesn't care if Get Owned has the penalties. He wants to cross the line in the lead and win in doing so. But Get Owned, 8 seconds of penalties. Is he really going to pull an 8-second gap over 2nd position? It's not looking likely, and it would be a very difficult challenge for the Renault driver.
Well, yeah, I mean, the field is incredibly close at the minute. I think that this penalty that Get Owned is facing right now is going to drop him right down the order, which is definitely not what he wants. So let's have a look at how far he'll end up going down. Let's have a look on the telemetry, on the intervals. Oh, it looks like he'll end up dropping down to about
P8.
P7, P8, yeah. So it's not looking good for him right now. That is a massive loss of points, especially in this really exciting title fight. And it looks like Vexit's going to go down the inside. And they're going wheel to wheel.
This isn't going to work through the tight, twisty section. Get Owned. You can see that he backs out of the overtake and he slots in 2nd behind Vexit. Not the optimal line, not the optimal opportunity, but Get Owned, he won't be happy with that. Has the DRS. Will he try again? No, he won't. He'll wait for the long straight as they make their way through the grandstand section now. Through the tight hairpin, we've seen quite a few moves through here from drivers in the past. But Vexit stuck his nose in, and you could see the intimidation in his eyes from Vexit. Get Owned didn't want anything to do with it. Backed out of the overtake, waiting for this next lap, and he'll go again. The Renault, he has DRS as they go down the straight now. Will he try anything going into turn 1? You can see Vexit defending the inside, but he hasn't defended enough. Get Owned up the inside, will take the racing line, take the inside. Vexit, nothing to do, left defenseless behind the Renault right now. You can see the AlphaTauri still hunting down the position. He may have the DRS, does the Renault, but Vexit not going to give it up. It's going to go all the way down into the corner around the outside. Will Vexit be able to pull it off? Tries up the inside now. Get Owned manages to hang it round. Now they go into the double right-hander, which we saw Vexit go up the inside before. And Get Owned retakes the lead after half a lap of a battle.
That was absolutely fantastic. Wheels out. I'm sure there must have been some contact in there between the two of them. Absolutely elbows out, fighting tooth and nail. But that was an absolutely fantastic battle. Both very respectful of each other. Vexit will try again. He knows when to back out, but will try again in the upcoming lap. Yari just sitting pretty behind them, really, watching this fight play out as he also is getting closer. It looks like he is still within DRS range of Vexit ahead, so he is definitely still within this fight, but is he going to be able to make the move when everybody seems to be making the moves left, right, and centre, as we see Vexit closing in on Get Owned as we go down the main straight?
Yep, but you know, Yari, the Red Bull, just sitting in 3rd position right now. You'll be watching this battle unfold, thinking that when these drivers make a mistake, when these drivers collide, that's when he's going to pounce. Yari will make his move, but he's just waiting for these drivers to make a mistake. He's biding his time, sitting behind the gearbox of the AlphaTauri and just waiting for that mistake to be made. And then it will be Yari's time. Then it will be Yari's turn.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think this is he's in a fantastic position right now. He's got prime viewing for the most exciting battle that's going on in the race right now, and also putting them pressure on the drivers ahead of him. So yeah, it's he's in a really interesting position right now. We've seen that XL has actually managed to jump Scars into P4 at this point, so that's a really interesting battle that's going on between the Williams and the Alfa Romeo. And it does look like the battle could potentially be continuing as we are about to head down the main straight, and Scars behind XL is definitely within DRS range as we see an overtake by Copy on Yonti a bit further down the pack.
Yep, so we see that overtake from Yonti there as he tries to make his way past Copy once again. You can see P10 is the Haas right now. You'll be looking for that extra point. 2 points is awarded for 9th position. 1 point is awarded for 10th. But in this championship, how close it is, every point matters to these drivers.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the last couple of races are going to be so important in picking up the most amount of points, especially for the constructors as well. Very, very close between a lot of them. So it's every man for themselves, really. Get owned not in the greatest position, as we've already discussed. Lots more of those drivers picking up penalties. So we see Scars with a penalty, Ben with a penalty, Top Jack, who was the first to pick up a penalty, Lando's Milkman as well. So for that AlphaTauri, who are in the constructors fight with Renault at the minute, it's going to be really, really important for Yari for Lando's Milkman to move up a couple of places, because that penalty is not doing him any favours right now. We've got both of the Ferraris with a penalty. We've got both of the Renaults with a penalty. So yeah, we're seeing lots of penalties. That's the point. They're left, right and centre on this track, as we can see that Vexit is dropping a little bit further back from Get Owned. So he's about 8, 9 tenths behind Get Owned at the minute, so that gap is opening up a little bit, even though it is still within DRS range, and I think Vexit is going to be too far back to be able to make a move going into turn 1, and I'm right.
Yeah, but with this gap opening up, it doesn't really matter for these drivers. 8 seconds is the penalties. You can see Get Owned snapping the rear out the corner, just pushing this car to the limit, trying to pull this gap that he needs. Some may see as an impossible target, as it will be very difficult for Get Owned. You can see locking up the front tires, which means he's confident on the brakes, trying to brake as late as possible, gaining every little thing that he can. But with Vexit behind and Yari behind, both without penalties, Yari in a very good position for a P2 right now if he's able to keep up this pace and be able to keep up this battle to keep himself in contention. But Get Owned, 8 seconds of penalties, and with one more pit stop to do, he will have to serve 5 seconds of his penalties with a stop-go.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting when the next round of pit stops ends up occurring. This battle between Scars and XL has reignited as well. Scars is now ahead. He's in P4 again, but XL definitely within DRS range, and we'll get it all the way down that main straight. So we'll see if there will be another overtake to be able to that is facilitated by this huge slipstream, this huge straight, which gives you a fantastic tow down to turn 1. And it doesn't look like XL is going to be close enough to make the move 6 this lap, and he's not, so Scars does remain ahead for a little while, but this is a really interesting battle for, I guess, what is next P4. I mean, Scars is plagued with a penalty right now, so XL is in a great position to be able to capitalise on that, and currently, the way the standings are, XL will actually finish on the podium, finish in that P3 position, so he's in a fantastic position.
Yeah, if XL keeps up this pace and manages to keep himself in this position, he's looking for a very good result. Is the Williams driver, but with 14 laps remaining of the race, over half the race completed for these drivers, not long left for anything to change. And talking about change, Top Jack picks up another 3-second time penalty, so that's not looking good for the other Williams drivers race. But XL in a great position right now to capitalize on the mistake of other drivers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot about forcing drivers into mistakes. I mean, now that we're at the end of the championship, or towards the end of the championship, there's a lot of pressure for everyone because every result counts, as we've already mentioned. So I think a lot of the drivers are going to be forcing other ones into a mistake, as we see Vegs that is really, really close. And we see Top Jack has retired from the session. So
that's in the pit lane.
in the pit lane. So I wonder if he was dealing with an issue. We didn't see that. I feel like we had absolutely no warning of that, so that's a little bit disappointing, as we see that he's left the session now. But this battle for the lead of the race, Vexit has closed in the last lap, so Get Owned is under a little bit of pressure. It's about 5/10 the gap at the minute, and Vexit is properly on the tail. So as we come through the twisty corners of Sector 2, we'll be coming up to the DRS activation zone. Or the DRS zone and the DRS activation zone for the main straight, and it looks like Vexit is definitely going to be within DRS range, as he has been for every single lap of this race. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting coming up to this next lap to see if he's close enough to make another move stick.
Yeah, it's very difficult around this track to break the DRS on the driver behind, never mind build a second on the penalties that you have. So it will be difficult for Get Owned to even break Vexit out of his DRS. We know Vexit is a clean, consistent, and very quick driver, so he'll be pushing the car to the limit, but not too far over the limit, as he'll keep the car under control and not risk anything, knowing that the penalties that the driver ahead has. So Vexit, he'll be keeping it calm and collected, but he'll also be keeping up the pace, which means that Get Owned, he'll have a hard time breaking the DRS.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of the drivers are struggling to break the DRS right now. We've got a lot of little interesting battles in the middle of the midfield as well, as we see XL has managed to get past Scars again. So XL up to P4 on track now, and therefore up to net P3 once Get Owned's penalty is taken into account. But he is actually quite far off, about 6.7 seconds, so as long as he stays on this pace, he would be in net P3, so that's definitely something for him to watch out for. An 8-second penalty is not, 30 seconds, so we've got to be really, really careful with making sure that penalty, or that he's within that penalty time. As we see Get Owned jumping into the pits, so yeah, dropping down the order, Vexit up into P1. Those tyres clearly not working for him, as he's going back onto the red-marked soft tyres, as we see the stop. Oh, this is going to feel like an absolute lifetime.
Yep, 5 seconds will be the hold for Get Owned. And that, to be honest, taking 5 seconds after a race is probably better than taking 5 seconds in a pit stop, as it just holds you much longer than you need, and it's more difficult to gain the time back and still be in contention for that position. But Get Owned just gets out behind his teammate. Praterus will be in P8. Get Owned drops all the way back to P9. That's definitely not ideal for the Renault driver.
Yeah, not where he's going to want to be. He's going to pick up a nice slipstream, should be able to get past his teammate. And, ooh, yeah, that was a really, really easy move. That got done for him as they head into Sector 2. So, already made up a place since exiting the pits. But 25 seconds now off the P1 driver of Vexit. That's very, very far behind. But on those new soft tyres, what will he be able to do? How much time will he be able to get back? I mean, I think once Vexit takes his pit, he'll still end up coming out in front. Fingers crossed for Vexit, obviously. Hopefully close enough that we'll still see those on-track battles between the top drivers in the championship right now. As we're seeing, quite a few of these drivers are jumping into the pit lane now, so I think that we have not... Oh no, I think that was just an issue with my telemetry. But yeah, Vexit into the pits on the soft tyres, Yari into the pits on the soft tyres. Some idiot now up into P1, and he's on those hard tyres, so those could potentially take him to the end of the race. And maybe that's what he's going for. So Some Idiot in a really great position now, 8.2 seconds up the track of Vexit in P2. So, wow, Some Idiot in a really great position. The Red Bull drivers have done absolute wonders today.
Yep, Some Idiot can go to the end of the race on those hard tyres, but look at the gap being broken down so quickly by these soft tyres, like gap being eaten up by Vexit. So it was 8.2 just a couple of corners ago. Now it's 7.3. This gap is not going to last long for Some Idiot.
Yeah, it's not looking good. We've lost... it's not even been a lap, and the P2 driver of Vexit has eked out about a second of time. So those soft tyres clearly have a lot of pace, but Some Idiot, as long as he can hold on, as long as he can defend well, we could end up in a little bit of a DRS train. And oh, that time just keeps tumbling right down. It's 6.4 seconds the gap between P1 and P2 now. So those soft tires doing absolute bits of Vexit right now.
Yep, in about a lap, Vexit pulled 2 seconds down on Samidia ahead. But Samidia, he will have those hard tires on for the rest of the race. You can see only 2 drivers on another compound than the soft is Fragioko and Samidia on those hard compounded tires. So Samidia, he's most likely not going to be able to take the win, but he is going to be in contention for a good position.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely benefited this alternative strategy. I love seeing alternative strategies as well and seeing how well they play out. So we've got somebody on the hard tyres. We've got Fragioko on the hard tyres, who's been on those tyres for just a little bit longer than some idiot has. But the rest of the field is currently on soft. So it's going to be a really, really interesting last couple of laps, like a final shootout with the drivers right now. We do have Yari, who has gone above Get Owned, shall I say, and is next P2 on track. Get Owned in P4 right there, but he will be hunting down Yari a little bit, trying to get past him on track, because I think a lot of the drivers prefer to have the moves done on track rather than afterwards with their penalties.
Yep, Vexit obviously still leading. Well, sorry, not leading. He's actually in second position. Samidia is leading the race, but by 4 seconds, 2 laps to go. It was 8.2, so that gap massively broke down by Vexit in second position. Samidia still leading the race on those hard tires, but as those hard tires go on, as the race goes on, those tires are just going to age, and those tires are just going to get worse in terms of pace and grip for the Red Bull driver.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 3.4 seconds Vexit is behind him now, so that gap is really, really shrinking extremely quickly. He'll be coming under fire from Vexit real soon. But a battle that I've just kept my eye on is the battle between the Mercedes of Ben and the Haas of Yonti. So Yonti was currently in P7, and then Ben managed to make a move stick coming into this lap, going into turn 1, and that was absolutely fantastic move. But I definitely don't think the battle between the two of them is over. Yonti is really on the tail of Ben right now, especially going into the grandstand section and about to come round to hit the activation zone for the big long straight. So I'll just keep an eye on this as it goes to see if Yonti will be able to close up the gap, make a move into turn 1 as Ben was able to do on him. So we see the long straight. It seems like it's absolutely forever, and we can see that Yonti is managing to eke a little bit of time out on Ben, but it's not enough. He's not going to be able to make a move going into turn 1, so we'll have to keep an eye on how close the two of those drivers are with each other.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on this battle between Yonti and Ben as it evolves going into the latter stages of the race. But 2.1 now separates Vexit and Samidia. This is really going to be an interesting battle between these two drivers. Is Samidia going to be able to defend his position? Is he even going to try to defend his position? Or is he going to just let Vexit by, take the slipstream, take the tow, and take the DRS?
Well, to be fair, that's a brilliant opportunity. I mean, to be able to have the DRS to stay close to the drivers in front is definitely a really good option, rather than battling it out with someone who you might know you could eventually lose to. That gap is now at 1.1 seconds, so even though Vexit does not have DRS now, he'll get a wonderful slipstream, get a little bit closer on this lap, and the DRS will definitely open for him coming around next lap. So we can see he is under that 1 second limit for DRS, but that wing won't open for him as he's past the activation zone. But definitely in a brilliant position now. 8/10 between him and Chlamydia in front of him. So, the battle is about to get real spicy.
Yeah, but if things keep going the way that they're going, I think Vexit may even be able to overtake Chlamydia before they reach the DRS detection zone of the next lap. As you can see, 4/10 separating the two drivers. Vexit all over the back of Chlamydia. Now you'll be feeling the pressure on those old hard tires compared to the 3-lap-old fresh, new soft. You can see that pace being drawn out of them by Vexit. DRS enabled down this short straight. Will Vexit be able to pull anything off? You can see the red flashing light of Chlamydia ahead, which means that he has less than 10% of his battery remaining, so overtake isn't really an option for some idiot right now. Yonti picks up another 3-second time penalty, so that's not good for him in the battle that he did have with Ben before. But they come down the straight. DRS detection is enabled, and you can see some idiot weaves down the straight to say no to Vexit. Please don't do this to me. But Vexit takes the position very easily. No defense there from Subidiot. Lets his teammate past as well. You can see lifts off just a little bit before the braking zone, and Yari into second position. Some idiot, if he manages to keep within 3 seconds to get owned or manages to keep him behind, he'll be looking for a podium.
Yeah, he's in a really, really good position right now. Definitely within the slipstream of his teammate as well, so not going to hold him up. Seeing a little bit of the teammate game coming into play, which is lovely. And we can see that Get Owned is really on the back of some idiot as well, but he's defending quite well throughout this lap. That DRS is really powerful though, so it won't be long before Get Owned will be able to attack some idiot properly, as he is on those nice, yummy new soft tires and that soft rubber. And it looks like he's going to be able to make this move. Sick as he looking, he's going to try and go down the inside, but he's not able to do it, just going into the grandstand section, so he just keeps behind for now, but he is right on the tail, and some idiot is under a lot of pressure.
I don't know where, but Get Owned has managed to pick up another 2 penalties.